to me. Okay, lovely modules. Here we have Tammy's amazing process photos. So clearly you have one on hand, and I'm already just smitten by all these images. And even here, look at this photo with any of these, but the shadow that's created. So these are the kind of things, this is why it's great to have one with you. Here, look at these shadows. So that's where this gray comes in when you're thinking about using black, white, and gray. It exists all around us. So your images are terrific. And looking at this, like all those components that make up this egg beater are just terrific. The internal gear. I love it that you're even putting it in this coffee cup because it's a weird thing to have to photograph. But look at the shadows on this image so that you're constantly looking at all of this even for inspiration. But great, great photos. Yeah, all of these. Terrific.
Sorry.
That's okay. Symmetry, week 1. Fabulous. Asymmetry. Again, I can tell right off the bat here that you've studied the egg beater. You, and again, this is advice for others that are constantly looking at the same part. This has abstracted this to a different level. And this is what I wanted. I didn't want we can take photographs and render an egg beater, but this is more the thinking that I was hoping for you all to embrace. I also love this comment about Stephanie saying that the uncomfortable closeness to the edge, and this image makes me very uneasy. And that is the power of asymmetry often, is that it does have that capability of making the viewer uneasy. This is no different than typography. So I love reading Stephanie's comments also. I'm guessing I know which one you like.
I was just about to say.
Absolutely.
I have a problem with circles. I don't know what's up with me.
No, embrace your circles. Repetition. Nice.
Squiggly.
Yeah. And that's another example of a repetition, but it's not identical.
Yeah.
That that could be something that keeps repeating, but it's not just it's not symmetrical. It's not the exact same thing. It's even thinking about the repetition of the mark making, the physicality of that. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I love that. These are sketches for the composition, I think.
Ah, wow. Yeah. So again, the question has been posed, and I would agree, is what exactly were you showing? And I'm, repetition, scale shift, definitely. First of all, I just think it's a wonderful, wonderful solution, and your approach to doing this. I would encourage even more use of the gray, because you can also experience a little bit more depth as you're starting to do that up at the top, and this image is starting to break away. But I would love to feel it. It almost looks like underwear.
Yeah, it does. They look like tiny bikinis. But yeah, I was also gonna say, I think some gray would also add like some depth. I think you said the exact same commentary, but I was about to say that. Yeah.
Agreed. What I really appreciate, again, and this might be helpful for anyone who's confused about, what do I mean by different parts? Suddenly this giant eye, this round circle appears in this composition, and it's from a different universe. And it's this scale change. It's kind of this gong that's happening, and this piece is separating in a really beautiful way. So I love your approach. And again, absolutely love the abstraction on all of these.
Yeah, they're all super nice.
And in addition to, and you can go to the next person, but in addition to using more of the gray, Tammy, think about even like a thinner line as a way of showing gray in the background, even as we move from the solid colors that you've shown to something that moves a little bit further in the background, but really lovely. Sophia, beautiful egg beater. Come on, tell me your mom doesn't have one in the house. As in the side, Wendy, I know her mom. That's why. I'm not just saying that. Okay, process. Black Sumi ink and a brush.
This made me
Fabulous.
want to draw with ink.
Right? I also, this is a small thing, but I love that you said, Sophia, on a sheet of mixed media paper. Even that helps. Like, well, how did this person do it? How did this become so white? You know, oh my gosh. I brought my shapes into Illustrator to create my compositions. Fantastic.
Love it.
Really, really, again, beautiful fabric design. This is symmetry. Why, yes. Goodness. Also, what I appreciate about this that you are, and you've done this before, is that you have a great use of combining tools. So you're taking advantage. You never pull a shortcut by not doing the hand element, but then you take it into the digital and you do wonderful things with it without stiffening up. So another symmetry. Yeah, I still feel the edges of the ink. You haven't cleaned it up to become something else. It still has Sophia's hand quality present.
Yeah, it's really important, especially when you're like transcribing something to the digital medium.
Yeah.
So it's really good that you kept that.
Asymmetry shows up. Wow. Great, great, great zoom, crop, irregularity. Love it. Mm-hmm. I'm going to encourage you, let's stay on this one for a second, but Sophia, even as we look at the whole lineup of your images here, and when we looked through your symmetry, much of them actually shared the same quality, which is like a big old image, like a big old powerful image, black and white, almost balanced. And I have to say, for me, I just favor that kind of image. So it's easy for me to lose sight of like, whoa. So I would say try some where you're doing the opposite, where you have a lot of white space and that you're showing asymmetry, or you're showing these things with less of these bold marks that you're making. Just try it out. Mm-hmm. Yeah, again, I think this is another example where it feels like it's just zooming in and really cropping in on something. And that, you know, consider, what I love is you do go off the page, but consider other ways that you might show us a scale shift. Static versus dynamic. A lot of your images seem to have almost a cinematic quality to them. You know, I
Yeah.
feel, you know,
Yeah,
just
I was
like
gonna
this
say that it
motion.
kind of feels like a stop motion graphic that you would use in like a little, I don't know.
Yeah,
Like
well,
they're
actually,
sort of like thumbnails, yeah, for that.
yeah, yeah, I really do feel it.
It
This
just,
feels like
I
it.
think the reason is just like the shapes sort of feel like they have a personality to them almost. Like even though these are not moving, I could picture like the movement if they were to be moving in a stop motion animation. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, just again, my final advice about these is do some where we feel a little bit more of the white space, but there's nothing wrong with any of these at all. I also love your take on repetition that you're doing here. Again, you're not just repeating the exact same thing over and over or just rotating the same image. You have like repetition within repetition, which is great. Yeah, same with that.
Mhm.
Yeah, that beauty, those shapes. Oh, and here we have asymmetry, dramatic scale shift, and repetition. Wow.
I think I love the use of the gray in here
Yeah,
because it doesn't
yeah,
feel like a background. It feels like it's participating in the composition, and
yes,
it definitely adds a lot of depth to the piece. So I think this is like a really good example of how to use the gray.
agreed, 100%. As you say, it's participating in it. And even like that really light gray, shape almost in the middle, um, that is, yeah, right there, that's really lovely. So it's not just flat. You're
Mm.
keeping all of this rhythmic quality alive. And I'm also favoring these light lines that you have sprinkled around. So you're also filling this in a great way, but yet there's enough variety that I don't feel trapped by your images, and agree 100% with Wendy. The grays that you've used here are quite sophisticated. Yeah.
Yeah.
The only thing I would say again with this is that maybe try another version, because you're adept digitally, is take some of this off. I
Yeah.
don't know which one. I'm tempted to have that shape, the darkest shape on the bottom right, because of the way it just touches the edge. Or sorry, bottom left, sorry, bottom
Mm.
left, that C shape on the left. I'm tempted to have bottom left.
Oh, bottom.
Bottom
This
left, like,
one?
yeah, that one, just the way it hits the take them all off.
I was like,
Uh,
I wasn't thinking.
no, it's fine.
Sorry
It
about
keeps them
that.
it keeps them guessing. Take that one off. The crazy instructor's like, "Nah, no,
I'm so sorry,
no,
Sophia.
no, no, don't be ridiculous. You're great. You're fine." But there's like so much happening here. And again, it goes back to what I said about um it goes back to your even your early stuff is very, very bold and full and full and bold and full, and perhaps just a little bit more breathing room on this, or even the three handles, the a little bit more use of gray. But again, all of this, of course, excuse me, is subjective. But I just think your suite overall is extensive, well
Yeah.
considered, but make some things smaller. Nice. And here we have in the modules Stephanie, and as usual, Stephanie has extensive process, and inspiration for all. And this is an egg beater I've never seen, and I've seen a lot. That's a very strange handle. I have a
The
collection of
handles
egg
are so
beaters,
funny.
right?
I really
I've
like them.
never ever seen this.
Even
So
the
again,
color,
yeah,
like it's
yeah,
just like a
yeah. So for everyone, again, even in terms of professional presentation, this is off the charts. This shows me you're thinking about every aspect of the project. You're designing your pages, you're showing this, you're, this is great. So these are the kind of things that you might discount, like, it's just, I was just playing around, I was just messing with my marker. Not you specifically, Stephanie, but one might think like, no, this is all part of it. Same. This is, again, as we've seen with a couple people who really take inventory. Look at this. Like, so many versions of the same exact unusual shape. And let's face it, look at this. This has, this is not an egg beater anymore. And that is an incredible, it almost looks like an alphabet. That's a
yeah.
difficult thing to do. And frankly, it is joyful, I find, to draw that beater shape and draw it and keep drawing it. And it's easy to get sucked into that. But here you are taking on some very difficult Shapes. Yeah, still the alphabet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
still the alphabet.
Jeez.
T and a P. This looks like a
Right?
6.
Yeah.
I like this one.
Nice. Yeah. Same. Same, same, same. What a great interpretation. Great. Yep.
I love the dramatic scale shift in all of them. They're just funny
Yeah.
by nature.
Yeah. This also, again, should be very inspiring for all. It's such a clear presentation. You know, you could show this to anyone and hopefully they would understand these principles.
Very unique repetition.
Yep. This also, process, process, process. This is what shows me like just your clear design thinking, that you're sketching these things out. And then look at this for the 3 finalists. So your process
Wow.
is very, very impressive and thorough. And this I also appreciate, resorted to drawing overscans on Photoshop because clock was ticking and I needed to
Uh-huh.
iterate faster. Final composition, yeah. Again, for me, there's that F that, you know, that we were
Yeah.
seeing before. For me, what's really remarkable about this, in addition to making it feel like a Matisse cutout, is that your abstraction. And you're not just making up, you know, uh, shapes based on nothing. You had a very strong inventory to begin with. And then your use of gray in this, I think, is really wonderful. And again, the scale that you're using is terrific. And also, I still see look at that lowercase a in the background. Do you see that coming through? Like, start over on the
Where?
left.
Okay,
Start over on the
left,
left, down, down, down,
down.
down. Nope, not that far. You go too fast. Right there.
Oh,
To your right. To your right. And now trace the
no, I can see it.
white. There
You
you
mean
go.
this
Look
one,
at,
right? Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I
Yeah,
can
she's
definitely
got
see it.
typography everywhere. Again, that wasn't even remotely
Yeah.
part of this assignment, but just I think what I'm most impressed with this suite, Stephanie, and anybody who's listening, is the experimentation, the iteration, the sketching, the process, the process, the process to arrive at this. And remember, for everyone, my lovely modules and anyone else listening, I really did want you to abstract the egg beater. The goal was not to have, you know, a rendered egg beater. It doesn't mean we can't recognize it in some of these, but to really be able to train your eye. You know, as I look on even Wendy's background right now, which is a fake background, looking behind her at those windows, you know, how could I render that window, but but by abstracting those shapes and doing things with repetition, this will serve you well when you know, you're called upon to, you know, make your own imagery, or, you know, say somebody gives you, I have this train and I need, you know, this poster with a train. And sure, you can put a photograph of a train, you can put a photograph of an egg beater, you can accurately render these things. But once you start really abstracting and playing with it, you'll find, hopefully, great discoveries and this wonderful graphic quality of your work. And that was the goal here. Again, as I said, you could have done this all completely digitally with circles and squares on a square background. It's a classic design assignment. And I want you to be taking all of this a step further and really embracing process, even if it's painful.
Yeah.
Okay, lovely
Okay.
modules. Thank you. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.